Welcome to my podcast. This is free agent preview of 2016's class of free agents. I will be previewing the forwards in this coming summer's free agent frenzy. Next week, I will be covering the defensemen and goalies. The top free agent in this summer's free agent class is obviously going to be Steven Stamkos. If he's not re-signed by the Tampa Bay Lightning, Stamkos will be the top free agent and the highly sought-after free agent at that. I still think that Tampa Bay will be the top runner or the first priority to sign Steven Stamkos. I think Tampa Bay is still his favorite. Tampa Bay gives Stamkos his best chance to win a cup, and it gives him all the pieces he needs. If he were to look elsewhere, Buffalo Sabres have a good young core that gives him a chance to win in the future. Toronto is in rebuild mode, but we all know that that's his hometown team. So in that aspect, it's a little bit more on the dream side, but it is possible, but a little more far-fetched. Next player on this list is Kyle Okposo. Kyle Okposo is a very good player. The New York Islanders really do need Kyle Okposo. If Kyle Okposo leaves, that leaves a huge hole on their roster. Kyle Okposo will probably be the top priority to be re-signed by the Islanders. If he asks for too much money, then Okposo will probably be a free agent. And Okposo, even if he goes to free agency, he can still be re-signed by the Islanders because he can still take a little less to re-sign with the Islanders because in the end, the Islanders do give him the best opportunity to win the cup. Two other teams that could fit Okposo into their team are the Florida Panthers and the Minnesota Wild. Two teams that really need right-wingers on their top line. The Florida Panthers could fit him alongside Jonathan Huberdeau and Alexander Barkov, while the Minnesota Wild could put him on the line with Mikkel Boedker and Zach Parise. David Backes is the third player on this free agent list of forwards. He is currently the captain of the St. Louis Blues, but he has seen his role diminish over the course of this season, which makes him leaving in free agency a higher possibility. He started off this season on the first line and then the second line, and now he's on the third line. So there's still a possibility that he re-signs with St. Louis because he likes playing there. He's the captain of the team. He's familiar with the organization. But at the same time, there are many other teams that would love to inquire in his services. Two of these teams are the Philadelphia Flyers and the Columbus Blue Jackets. The Flyers are a team that love players that play like David Backes. And he's a center. The Flyers need a second-line center. The Columbus Blue Jackets are another smash-mouth team. And I think getting David Backes would help restore their identities. Milan Lucic is another player on this list of top free agents. Milan Lucic is going to get paid in free agency, whether it's by the Kings, who he has said publicly is his favorite. He wants to re-sign with LA, but the problem with signing with LA is cap restricted. They have a lot of money locked up in a few players. So I don't, unless Milan Lucic lowers his asking price, I don't think that he returns to LA. If Milan Lucic does leave LA, two other teams that would inquire in Milan Lucic are the Ottawa Senators, who really, really need a top line left winger to play with either Bobby Ryan or Mark Stone. And he would also be a good fit on the Calgary Flames. You could put him on the line with Sam Bennett and Michael Frolik. Eric Staal is the next player on the list. Eric Staal used to be a top line elite player, but he has slowly diminished in his role. Now I see him as maybe a second line player. Eric Staal can still be very useful though for a contending team. Teams like the St. Louis Blues, the New York Rangers, and the Buffalo Sabres, who can offer the Eric Staal the most money, but he wouldn't win a Stanley Cup there. If Eric Staal wants to win, his best bet is with the New York Rangers. But St. Louis Blues would give him the most opportunity to play. Because if David Backes leaves, then that leaves him a huge opening, and he could very well end up playing on the top line with Tarasenko, which could revive his career. Andrew Ladd is the next player on the list. Andrew Ladd has said that he wouldn't rule out returning to Winnipeg. He likes playing there. It's just that Winnipeg wanted to get everything they could for him at the trade deadline. So I wouldn't rule out Andrew Ladd return to Winnipeg. Another team that would love Andrew Ladd on their team is the Anaheim Ducks, as well as the New York Islanders. The New York Islanders really, really need a top-line left winger to play alongside John Tavares. And the Anaheim Ducks would love a player like Andrew Ladd with size and grit. Loui Eriksson is the next player on the list. Loui Eriksson is a good two-way player. He has revived his career after a very bad season with concussions and whatnot. I don't think he's going to resign with Boston because Boston doesn't have the cap space. He still wants to get paid while he's still considered in his prime. So the top three teams I have lining up to sign him are the San Jose Sharks, the Buffalo Sabres, and the Arizona Coyotes. The Arizona Coyotes would be interested because of the coach. Dave Tippett coached Loui Eriksson while he played in Dallas. Coincidentally, Loui Eriksson had his best season in Dallas playing under Dave Tippett. He had multiple 70-point seasons playing in Dallas under Dave Tippett. A reunion with Dave Tippett would probably do well. And being a veteran, he could probably fit in playing very well with those young players in Arizona. The Sabres would be a good fit as well. They are in a semi-rebuild mode, but they also need a fair mix of veterans if they want to start winning soon. And the San Jose Sharks really need a second-line right winger. Joel Ward is good, but they need a second-line right winger that can play alongside Logan Couture and Patrick Marleau. Mikkel Boedker is the next player on the list. He got traded to the Colorado Avalanche at the trade deadline. And I actually think that him resigning with the Colorado Avalanche makes total sense. Because he's playing on the top line, and the Avalanche have a good core together. They're just missing a few pieces, and Mikkel Boedker could be one of those pieces. Another team that could fit Mikkel Boedker if he doesn't re-sign with Colorado is the Philadelphia Flyers, who also needed left winger to play with Giroux and the Chicago Blackhawks. But if he goes with Chicago, he has to take significantly less money, and this would mean he's going for a cup. Radim Vrbata is probably not going to be re-signed by the Vancouver Canucks because you have seen his role diminish a lot this season. He's now playing on the third or fourth line, and he's not having a good season at all. So, but that doesn't mean that he isn't valuable. I think some teams could still use Radim Vrbata. The team that would be interested in Radim Vrbata is the Arizona Coyotes. Seemingly, Vrbata has a bad season, and then when he goes to Arizona, he revives his career. So it would only be fitting that he goes back to Arizona to revive his career. After all his best seasons have been in Arizona for some reason. The Montreal Canadiens also need a right winger. Not saying that Radim Vrbata would solve their issues, but he would help. And the Carolina Hurricanes would also be a fit. Frans Nielsen is the next player on the list. Frans Nielsen has been underrated for many years, and he's finally getting the recognition he deserves. I actually expect Frans Nielsen to be one of the more highly sought after free agents. I think the New York Islanders may have a higher priority on Frans Nielsen than Okposo because he's worth more to that team than him. He plays more minutes. He plays in all the situations. He's an alternate captain. He plays a big role on the team. So I just don't see the Islanders letting Frans Nielsen go. So I still think the Islanders have a high priority on him. But if Frans Nielsen were to become a free agent, two teams that would fit Frans Nielsen are the New Jersey Devils, who really need a center, and the LA Kings. yeah, you're saying do the LA Kings really need Frans Nielsen? Well, right now they push Jeff Carter up to the top line to play alongside Anze Kopitar. So that leaves the second line center position open. If you were to sign Frans Nielsen, this really makes LA a big threat in the West. Juri Hudler is the next player. Juri Hudler is an up and down player. He can score 25, 30 goals, but then he'll have goals with 15 or 20 goals. He's very flashy, and sometimes he can be inconsistent, but he would still help teams like the New Jersey Devils, the Buffalo Sabres, and Minnesota Wild, teams that have trouble scoring. The New Jersey Devils especially need all the help they can get in terms of scoring, because they are last in the NHL in terms of 5-on-5 scoring. The Buffalo Sabres, I mentioned a lot in this video, they do need a lot of help. They will be, after a lot of free agents, doesn't mean they will be signing all of them. They will be in high pursuit of a lot of them. And then the Minnesota Wild, if they don't get Okposo, I think Juri Hudler would be a good replacement for him. David Perron is a very solid left winger. He can be inconsistent, but he actually has had a few 20-goal seasons. He can be slow, he can be lazy, but if you pair him with the right players, he'll succeed. So the best fit for him are on contending teams, like the Chicago Blackhawks, the Anaheim Ducks, and the Boston Bruins. But the Anaheim Ducks, the Anaheim Ducks are currently owning his rights. The Anaheim Ducks could very well re-sign David Perron with how well he's playing with Ryan Getzlaf. But if he doesn't re-sign with Anaheim, I could very well see him going to Chicago. If Andrew Ladd doesn't re-sign with the Chicago Blackhawks, they then need a left winger, and David Perron could fit on that top line. And the Boston Bruins could need a left winger if Loui Eriksson leaves. Jarmoir Jagr, the living legend, the ageless wonder. Seemingly, Jagr just continues to produce. That's why I put him on the free agent list. He's old but still productive. So he's still going to be a sought-after free agent this year. Especially after the year he had. Florida's going to be in a difficult situation. On one hand, you want to re-sign him because he does help Huberdeau and Barkov. But on the other hand, you would much rather go out and sign younger players that can help your team for many years to come. So They are in a crossroad. A team that would luck out and sign Jagr if the Florida Panthers decide not to re-sign him are the Calgary Flames. The Calgary Flames, if they were smart, would sign Jagr to play alongside Johnny Gaudreau and Sean Monahan. Jagr has a track record of playing well with young players. Look what he did with Tyler Seguin and Jamie Benn. Look what he did playing with Claude Giroux. Look what he did playing with Huberdeau and Barkov. His return to the NHL has been almost as a mentor. The Montreal Canadiens could also use Jagr's presence in the lineup, but I think the Calgary Flames are a better fit. Brad Richards is another player. Brad Richards has seen his minutes diminish and role diminish with the Red Wings this season. He's not going to re-sign with the Detroit Red Wings. We know that. 3 teams that he would sign with are the Dallas Stars. I think a return to Dallas is way long overdue. Another team is the Carolina Hurricanes, who do need centers. And another team is the St. Louis Blues. If they miss out on Eric Staal, Brad Richards could be a replacement for him. Kris Versteeg. Kris Versteeg is a very flashy player. He's not always productive, but if he's playing on a team with not a lot of depth, he can play on the top line. He would fit on contending teams to help the depth. Teams like the New York Rangers, on a bad team like the Toronto Maple Leafs, he could help on the top line. And he could also help on the Philadelphia Flyers as well. Teddy Purcell. He would fit on the Minnesota Wild, Washington Capitals, and Vancouver Canucks. Vancouver Canucks need a right winger. Washington Capitals need depth, and the Winnipeg Jets need a third line left winger, or right winger, sorry. Jason Chimera is one of those players that you just need on your team. He's not flashy, but he's a veteran. He grinds it out. He works hard, and he's just a coach favorite. And he comes in handy in the playoffs. Washington is not likely to let him go easily unless he asks for too much money. So he's the favorite. They are the favorites to re-sign him. If he doesn't re-sign with Washington, Chicago would probably inquire in his services. Edmonton is also a team that would like Jason Chimera because they need the veteran leadership. Mikkel Grabner. Mikkel Grabner would probably resign with the Toronto Maple Leafs because that would honestly give him the best opportunity to play the most minutes. If he were to go elsewhere, Tampa Bay Lightning would give him the best chance to win a Stanley Cup but he would have to take a one-year deal and a lot less money. The Ottawa Senators also need a right winger on the third line. That would help their depth. Rene Bourque. He would help the Florida Panthers, Pittsburgh Penguins, and Arizona Coyotes. Rene Bourque could help all three of those teams because those teams are in need of that player with size. Darren Helm is fast. He's a good penalty killer, and he's versatile because he can play on top six occasionally, and he's a very good bottom six player. He would fit on the San Jose Sharks, Columbus Blue Jackets, and Nashville Predators. Shawn Horcoff. You can never have too many good face-off men in your lineup. Buffalo Sabres are probably going to line up after him, after David Lightmon leaves. The Columbus Blue Jackets also, and the Nashville Predator. And the Boston Bruins, sorry. Nick Spaling is probably going to resign with the San Jose Sharks because he does help the depth on that team and does a good job on the bottom six. But if he does decide to leave, the Washington Capitals will give him the best chance to win a cup there. And the St. Louis Blues as well have a good chance of being a contender. Vernon Fiddler, another one of those good face-off men in the league. You can never have enough of those. The Dallas Stars are front-runners to resign him. If he does leave Dallas, Ottawa could be in the running, as well as the Buffalo Sabres if they miss out on Shawn Horcoff. David Jones. I see a return to Calgary likely. If he doesn't return to Calgary, Arizona and Columbus are likely. Jamie McGinn, to me, is very underrated. He's a player with size that can pop in 15 to 20 goals. I always like those players that you can play. He can play anywhere from the first line to fourth line. That's very versatile. And he can also play either left wing or right wing. So these type of versatile players are the ones that teams go after a lot. And he's not going to be that expensive. Teams that would be lining up for him are the New York Islanders, Anaheim Ducks, and Nashville Predators. All three of these teams need left wingers. Trever Lewis has turned into a very good third line center for the LA Kings. I do not see LA letting Trever Lewis go. He is the top. He's going to probably resign with the LA Kings, if he does decide to leave, Washington is an option, as well as Montreal. Stempniak had a career year this year, which means he's going to get paid. Boston Bruins could re-sign Stempniak, but that's very unlikely because of their cap situation. The Winnipeg Jets as well need a right winger, and he could fit there. The Toronto Maple Leafs also have an opening on the right wing. Chris Stewart. Chris Stewart needs is a right winger that has grit and size, and will fight when necessary. I would not rule out a return to Colorado. His best years were with the Colorado Avalanche. Another team that would inquire in him is the Ottawa Senators, as well as the Carolina Hurricanes. Steve Ott. You can never have enough physical players on a team that can fight and score. Steve Ott is that type of player. He is the type of player that Boston and Philly loves to have. For that reason, both these teams will be lining up to sign him. St. Louis will also be fighting to retain his services. Steve Downey. He may resign with the Arizona Coyotes, but if he does not resign with them, Florida and Vancouver are likely. So, I know these are not all the free agent forwards, but I just highlighted some of the top free agent forwards in this upcoming summer's free agent frenzy. Like I said before, next week I'll be previewing the free agent defensemen and goaltenders.